This is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Come, let us explore why you struggle when you force things, the truth, followed by group meditation. So what I'm going to do real quick is try to highlight this first line. Those of us raised in late-stage capitalism were indoctrinated to believe that we gotta make it happen. But forcing, let's go over here real quick, but forcing focus and forcing analysis not only exhausts the dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex, thus setting us up to present with symptoms of depression, but also trigger our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. When it comes to what masquerades as the spiritual path, we are frequently admonished to practice different forms of austerity. We are told to practice thought suppression. In 1950s America, that could be described as I must not think bad thoughts. And in terms of Buddhism, that institutional Buddhism, that could be described as mind blanking, or only thinking of one thing and nothing else. We are also taught to practice the austerity of social isolation. And we saw that in fundamentalist Christianity, where you're advised to keep your friendships and your romantic relationships and even your business relationships, quote unquote, in the kingdom, and to vote as your betters tell you to vote. And in Buddhism, we see that in the idea of a 3-year classic retreat in utter isolation, in a cave somewhere. And so we see around the world when narcissists act the same. They always strive to find a way to isolate their victims, if not physically, then socially. And this is predictable. When dealing with narcissists, it is as if they're acting from the same playbook, because narcissism is not a psychological disorder. It's such a psychological symptoms of a neurological disorder. Let's jump forward to a useful diagram. For approximately 290,000 years, humanity could be described as being in its proto-communistic state, where our culture rewarded us for being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Then came the proto-capitalism of the Neolithic Revolution, when that was turned on its head. So for roughly the last 10,000 years, our culture has rewarded us for being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, and punished us for being otherwise. This is the mindset, the rigid, superstitious, controlling, elitist mindset that fuels this type of austerity. The great irony is that, well, let's go back to that illustration. instead of being like a grumpy Mace Windu, we can be like a groovy Qui-Gon Jinn. The greatest spiritual luminaries saw through the folly of this austerity and instead embraced the power of simply letting it happen. This is illustrated by the wonderful Shastra composed, whose title is Spaciousness of Vajrasattva, composed by the great Buddhist reformer Prahevajra. Some meditators strive to put their minds into a thought-free state, thinking this gives them access to something subtle. They isolate their bodies in lonely places, examine closely. These are seen to be forms of contrived contemplation, as opposed to the spontaneous meditation, wherein we simply cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system latent within our spinal cord, where we cooperate with its natural tendencies to watch the antics of mind during each inhalation and rest in its non-graspable nature during each exhalation. Ironically, the most efficient way for us to stop actively fighting against it and begin to passively cooperate with it is as simple as silently and mentally reciting the verb watch every time we feel our chest swell with breath, as well as silently and mentally reciting the verb rest every time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. 4. Meditate like a Jedi is made possible due to the generosity of viewers, just like you. For the remainder of this early morning's live stream, together let us sit and breathe and watch and rest. The free fall of meditation can feel jarring to our controlling and rigid tendencies. It could be a useful workaround, could be a variation of Bengali crease counting. Let us touch the tip of our left thumb to the lowest set of creases of its left little finger, thus keeping track of our first set of 16 inhalations. Then let us rest this left hand palms up in our lap. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch during our inhalation, as demonstrated over yonder, we could advance our right thumb up the creases and tips of each of its fingers, beginning with its little finger. Let us take practice together right now. Having completed, having come to the final point on our right hand upon which to rest the tip of our right thumb, we can turn our attention back to our left hand and advance our left thumb. And now you get the basic idea, the viscera idea of how we can count 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. Counting 16 inhalations upon our right hand takes a little bit more than 1 minute. Gathering 16 sets of 16 inhalations each on our left hand takes a little bit more than 20 minutes. When gathering our first collection of 20 minutes, or I should say when keeping track of our first collection of 20 minutes, we can rest the first knuckle of our right middle finger on the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. When we wish to track, when we begin gathering our second collection of 20 minutes, we could rest the second knuckle of our right middle finger on the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Similarly, when gathering our third collection of 20 minutes, we could rest the third knuckle of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Overwhelmed? The antidote is simply repetition. Meditate with me once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, the Buddha's path you could master. There are many who are rigid and elitist who insist that one must master the full lotus posture if one wishes to become a great meditator. However, the Buddha never taught that. His sitting instructions were remarkably vague. And when we examine the most ancient Buddhist statuary, we see the Buddha's shins not depicted as being crossed in the full lotus posture, but being stacked in a parallel manner in the quarter lotus posture, like the two pieces of bread forming a sandwich. The decisive factor in choosing a sitting posture is, number one, is it sustainable? Is it good for our joints? And number two, does it help our spine to elongate during our various inhalations? The moment you have a specific question about the philosophies or techniques of Taoism, Buddhism, Tantra, Dzogchen, Zen, or Mahamudra. Do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. Thanks for the love. In about 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening lesson, followed by the group practice of meditating like a Jedi. And if, oopsie, wrong button. Well, that's just silly. Let me see if I can't fix that bad boy. Number 1A, like and comment. Okay. There we go. And if you are as geeky as me, may the force be with you always.